That's really earned.
Yes.
Yeah, earned trust. So and Glenn brings up a really good point that was on our list here as something that we've been seeing through the tax school is, and that we may want to consider doing, is more tax pros who regularly deal with W-7 and I-10 clients in general becoming certifying acceptance agents. And I wanted to see, Glenn, if I know you've had a couple people in the Dream Team membership who've done that recently. Why is that potentially important? How difficult is that process? Is that something that tax pros who deal with these kind of clients should consider?
The process is actually pretty easy to obtain your CAA. We've had 3 students now that applied for a CAA. One lady, the very first one, she did it over the weekend. She watched the movie, she did the course, everything, Saturday, Sunday, but it took her like about 60 days to get the actual CAA, from the IRS. But
what does it do for you? What's the benefit?
Well, it relieves the client gets back all their documents, and you certify that you saw all the documents, right? Why are you laughing?
Because I have that license.
Oh, you do?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it in Monrovia with Kent. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work?
The I-10, I don't know what changed in the I-10 unit, but the year that we were doing that and sending copies and I was signing off because I had the license, every single I-10 got rejected.
And when was that?
Like 2 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So keep in mind that all the changes that have been going on, there's been a lot of changes, so maybe 2 years ago is not, but that definitely...
It should be about the same, yeah.
Then, so I can call and kind of verify, but 2 years ago...
Because Jesse told us just send the original.
Yeah, I spoke to Monrovia and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Every single I-10 I'm sending out is getting rejected.
Yeah.
And then Jesse was like, same thing's happening to us here. We stopped using that license and we're just sending originals.
Interesting.
And then it went back to normal of them accepting our stuff.
Okay, so that's a really good point, because that really messed up your sales.
No kidding. Forget the CAA.
Right, but with this situation, how many times has that happened with these clients over the past 10 years? Is it completely changed some major part of the process? So your promise to the client, right, is like, I went and got this license or whatever, so now you don't have to send your originals. Oh, sweet, this is so great, right? Maybe even charge a little bit more to certify the documents or whatever. Then it totally blows up in your face dozens of times that month, right?
Yeah, this is interesting. This is the first time I heard about that.
With the other students, Glenn, have you, because they would probably let you know.
None of them have tried doing one yet.
Okay.
Because at first I started taking a poll to see how many, I-10s do you file? And very few people were doing I-10s in the group. I think 20% was the highest of anybody. But I said, it's a good idea. I mean, if you have I-10 clients, you should get the CAA because it makes it much easier on your client.
But you should only get it if it works.
Right, if it works.
We can try it.
Because you know what? Because I read everything about the I-10 and everything, and it's supposed to work according to the way that it's written up, right?
Yeah, because before it started not working, it was working perfectly. It was like, yeah, we're telling our clients, but then when we started getting papers back, people were like, but you told me I didn't have to send my documents. We're like, well, we have to kind of
So when you got back to them and said, hey, I'm a CAA, why do I have to do that?
The IRS agent just told us it was just best to send original documents.
We
did call the
honestly, I don't trust the IRS, right? Because they lose things. I mean, they're behind. So right now.
But in all the years that I've done it, in the 10 years that I've been with Pronto, it has only happened to us once that documents were lost. So because we send everything certified.
Right.
So we build,
and that's what I tell the clients to do, yeah.
We bill the client for some unit certified because I tell them the same thing. I want to make sure that we're able to track that they got it.
Right. So we actually are even handling the sending of it and packaging it and all that.
It depends on the client.
Depends, okay.
But if they want us to send it, we will, and we always send it. Or we have a stack of those certified folders, the one the post office has. We just have a stack of them, and we tell the client, send it only in this. Do not put it in a regular we label it for them and
Yeah.
make it easy for them.
Make
So-
it nice.
But yeah, it wasn't working. It'd be interesting to see if something has changed and if it's working again.
Yeah, because what's happening from and what we're hearing, like you said, about a low percentage of even tax pros that work with ITIN clients to some degree, very few people have that CAA
Right.
designation, right? So the IRS lists those places on their website. So theoretically, it's like you could pick up clients from other offices and have like a, kind of a business to business type of service, right? Because from the client point of view, it is valuable. Like I would rather not send my original passport.
Absolutely.
For sure,
Yeah.
especially in the current environment of just like anxiety around like
Right.
immigration.
Especially because of the length of time that it's taking.
Right, so speed of processing,
Yeah.
certainty of processing, like you can sense that there's a lot of value there, right? But definitely if it's not working, then the value goes down.
Yeah.
You know, when I left Fiesta, so in 2015, they predicted that the Hispanic population would double in 5 years.
Hispanic population doing taxes or?
No, Hispanic population in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Is that about right, or
Yes, but probably.
maybe even
A
more?
lot of them would be born here in
Right.
the United States.
Yeah. But they said it would double, and that's the reason at that point, that they said, get your CAA,
I also think it has to do with your, like, where in California.
Yeah.
Or,
well, almost anywhere in
Oh, I guess
California.
that's true. I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking nation, but yeah.
Where in the country?
But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but you know
California
what?
for sure, like,
You know,
you
like,
have to have a Spanish speaking,
yeah,
tax preparer in
Absolutely.
your office,
yep,
and then someone that is able to do,
yeah. I mean, we're finding now Chicago, Minnesota, we're finding Hispanic groups,
yeah,
clusters,
absolutely.
But also there's, it's like supply and demand, right? So there's quite a few tax pros in say Los Angeles or San Diego, right, that do know how to do this. And so you have more competition. Other areas, right, it may not be as many clients that need this, but there might only be one or two people in the entire city that are really going to give a great service on this.
Right. Which
Right.
I think that's where we land. Like, I feel like the area that we're in.
Because on the west side of town.
Right,
Okay.
like the Latino community has moved, further east just because of the cost of living closer to the west side.
Or a lot of I-10 clients particularly, right?
But then there is still a lot of those people because, all these restaurants, car washes, or those type of, still need that type of employee.
So they might be working right in that area.
Yeah, so I get a lot of people that work in the area that are like, oh, I drive by your place every day. And there is not a lot of tax offices, like you mentioned, that know how to do that type of work, or that they feel comfortable. The minute you start speaking to them in Spanish, it's like that comfort level. They're like, oh, I feel already, they're skeptical of walking into an office that no one speaks English,
Mhm.
right?
Or no one speaks Spanish.
I'm sorry, Spanish.
Right.
Spanish, that's what I meant, I'm sorry.
I still agree with you.
Maybe that too. I need to get on my Spanglish level. If I need to say something in English, I need to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And we can see on this example, right, that there's a self-employment income that is most likely so on Schedule C, you can see 30,000, right? And really no expenses. So it's really like a reporting of a cash income, most likely, right?
Yeah.
So for that, and there's some self-employment tax that comes in, there really is, if we go back up to the kind of the result of the situation is we do have a refund. So $13.49. If I pay like $400 to do this, because there's an I-10 renewal attached on this example, but I have enough additional child tax credit, right? So that's going to go to that residency of these kids in the U.S., right? That's going to determine whether I should be getting that child tax credit. Have you guys seen where, and we've been pretty diligent about like making sure that the residency is in the U.S. for maybe other returns that we see where we're kind of more in a problem solving mode for something that happened either self-prepared or by another company, have they been pretty strict about like that residency for the child tax credit? Has it been causing problems if that's not right?
I think not from federal, but California has. I feel like California, but I don't think California more, right?
Yeah, we see the occasional letters of just proof of the child. They're living with them. It's, I would say it's more with the earned income credit than the child tax credit.
Okay.
But I think I
On
feel
the California side of the
yeah,
earned income
because I
credit.
feel like since they now did, not allowing the child tax credit for an I-10 dependent, so that's already,
It kind of handles its own situation.
yeah, because I mean it's kind of the assumption that if they have a U.S. It's very, very rare that you find a dependent child with a Social Security that's not living in the country.
Okay, interesting. So that's kind of on the front side, you can basically tell whether it's
Right.
going to be child tax credit.
Right.
Okay, interesting. So, and you bring up the state, the California situation. So now California, we can get earned income credit with I-10s.
Yeah. Right.
So that just brings up another, right? Like people think, I think back in the day, it was a little bit of lower income returns are so easy and this is like easy money.
No.
But I don't know that's not really true, right?
No,
Not
it's not.
anymore.
Not.
Yeah. What other things, and I know Ingrid, you've done fantastic with this client group and just get rave reviews for your service and expertise. Like when you look at this example or some of the things that we've talked about, like what are some things that come to mind that if I want to do this work, really at a high level, what do I need to really think about?
Well, I feel like obviously, yeah, you're like, well, why do I have to pay self-employed tax? Like, I'm never going to get that, Well, you got to explain to them, like, it's good to have a record of taxes because when you go for, there's an immigration law or anything that changes, you could apply to get your papers and you'll get your social and you could actually get whatever you paid on that item transferred to your social security number.
So if you say that, do you feel confident that that's really like what's going to actually happen, or do you feel like we kind of need to say like, well, like maybe this could happen, but like don't quote me, or that whole.
No, I feel confident that it will happen. I mean, it happened once.
If you get your social at some point,
Yeah.
your self-employment tax payments can be switched over and applied to that social.
Right, and then again, like the communication and talking about maybe they're telling me like, oh, my kid is on special needs or, something happened to them, and then kind of getting their story and like, hey, did you know that you could actually talk to an immigration lawyer? You might qualify for it. I'm not trying to give you any consultation because I am not an immigration lawyer or anything to do with law about immigration, but you should talk to someone because maybe you could qualify for some stuff.
So there may be other options that you're not familiar with, and would you potentially connect them with an immigration attorney?
Yeah.
Okay. So you might even like provide like this is somebody that we have worked with and trusted that might be worth talking to.
And I've told them, I'm like, I actually work with him myself.
Okay.
As my whole family has gone with him, and he's did pretty good. He's not gonna just throw you let them feel confident. And I feel like a lot of people do see it that way. And just keeping that in mind, like next year, when they come in, like, hey, did you talk to the lawyer? And if they say no, like, why haven't you? Like, you could have, like kind of pushed them.
You could have moved this along.
Yeah, already,
Okay.
Been in your process or something. So I do feel like a lot of people appreciate that, and that's why they like sometimes they stay with you and they're loyal because you're trying to help them out. You're not trying to put them down.
So there's obviously, if you get into that, there's kind of that anxiety of you start working with an attorney, you start getting all your stuff kind of in the records of your address and everything else. There's an anxiety point, but there's also kind of this hope of like what I would really like is like I'm raising my family here, like I would really like to have legal residency, have a path to citizenship, if and when that is an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like am hopeful, and maybe I should kind of get the ball rolling. in case something happens. So when the person's in that mind frame, is it normally like you would outright ask about it, like as you're doing the taxes, or is it something that you would kind of let them bring up if it's a concern, right? Because you don't want to kind of like, at least for me being a white guy, like I wouldn't want to go there right away if they don't mention
it's kind
it.
of like talking to them, connecting with them, and kind of like just starting a conversation, and then trying to see what are their goals, like,
Okay.
trying to see what are their goals, like, oh, I don't know if I should do my taxes, like, why should I do taxes type of thing, and explain to them, like, when I went through immigration,
So sharing your own experience.
sharing my
Okay.
own experience, when I went through immigration, I really didn't have anything, like, but I remember that the first thing the lawyer asked me to do, file my taxes. Get tax returns done so that you can prove that you've been here since that year.
So establishing the residency and working, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think like a lot of clients that come in, like if this particular taxpayer came in with self-employed income, they know they're going to be owing some tax.
It's already kind of a known fact.
Yeah, and so I feel like they come in, even with W-2s, a lot of them, because they go exempt or they put down holdings really high. I think they come in just knowing that they will owe, but they're like, no, but I want everything in good standing. Even if they're not looking through the immigration process, they come in with that kind of like, hey, I'm living here and I know that's part of, living in the US, paying tax on my income, so I'm coming to do my tax return to pay my fair share.
But don't you think that, like, I would say maybe 90% of the people that have ITINs want to become or get a social security number,
Yeah.
right? So they're very serious about that, and they know it's going to
And I
take
think that's
years.
why they come, because they know
Right.
that that's what they need.
Okay, this is part of the overall.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that they come to us because they know that that's something that they're gonna need
right.
to prove a residency. Because like Cindy said, they don't come, they know that they're gonna owe money. They know that they're probably not gonna get that child tax credit or any of the stimulus checks that they were coming. They were still coming to us because they want to be in good standing
Mhm.
in case of any laws change of immigration.
Anything you'd want to add to that, Imelda? I know you've helped a lot of I-10 clients over the years as well.
No, they've covered everything.
It was a
so
pretty
far.
thorough-
Yeah, they explained everything.
Yeah, so definitely a lot involved in a lot of expertise that goes into this type of situation. And even just in this conversation, discovering a new thing for us to follow up on about the CAA thing. Because I think, from the client value point of view, and especially even networking with other tax pros that maybe, like I said, a lot of people are kind of like not dealing with this work for all the reasons that we just went through. Of if you don't do a lot of them, it's a lot of things that can go wrong. So thanks for sharing that. I think some really good opportunity in there. Appreciate that.